minutes to master, tools to explore. Let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCawley, where your digital dreams come true.
Using Rick's style guide, which is very cool. If you haven't seen that, that's notebooklm.rickmccawley. Let me make sure I have that right. I want to give it the right link. It's notebooklm.rickmcawley.com. It's his style guide where you can apply over 100 different visualizations to your presentations that Notebook LM is making for you, including this one. So Lovable, as you know, I'm a Lovable ambassador. I got some Lovable swag today, which was very cool. I finally got a Lovable hat and a t-shirt so I can rep them out in the world. So I'm very excited about that as a Lovable ambassador. But they have just been on an absolute tear. And so they have been, over the past few months, just updating and iterating and cooking. And, before, they're only a year and a half old. And even before all of the changes, I put on my old-timey announcer voice, a modern marvel of vibe coding for the everyday citizen. Discover how the Lovable agent turns plain English into production-ready applications, permanently lowering the barrier to creation. Right? And so that's where they were. But now they are so much more, because the dilemma of the modern businessman, I love the style. Traditional software requires armies of engineers, rigid dependencies, and grueling timeline. And now we are entering the era of agentic development. So instead of 6 months, we are in a development cycle that is measured in minutes. One of our friends in the AI salon, Kelly Camp, did a project for a client, and it was a health dashboard. And what she did was she gave them the prototype and said, tell me the data that you need to fill in. It took them 3 weeks to get her back the data sources that they wanted to use in this report. Oscar, how long do you think it took her to get that into Lovable and make a working version of the site?
20 minutes.
8 minutes.
Oh, okay.
8 minutes. She waited a day to email them back, but 8 minutes. That is the world that we're living in now. And it's all powered by the autonomous Lovable agent. So you type plain English, and now the agent interprets, explores the code base, and write code. For the first year of this, it was pretty much you had to prompt. It was prompt engineering, right? The smarter your prompt, the better the output of the code. Well, now with Claude Opus 4.7, Fable is already in Lovable, Gemini 3.5 Flash, all of the latest frontier models. When you prompt it, it doesn't just go and try to do the thing. It actually thinks about the experience that it's trying to solve, the problem it's trying to solve. And it does end-to-end multi-step task execution that reduces development errors by 91%. And then they have sub-agents. So for complex tasks, Lovable deploys temporary sub-agents to research and review code in parallel. So while it's fixing one area of your site, it's QAing or putting quality assurance on the other side of your site.
Does that happen automatically?
Yeah.
Did you set it up separately, or it just does it?
No, it just goes. If you have to prompt it to say, hey, I want you to do this, and while you're doing that, also check in over here. But as you stagger those prompts, it's going to start spinning up sub-agents to handle those tasks. Or as it does something, it's not just going to do it and give it back to you, Oscar, and say, I think this is right, but I need the human in the loop to check. Now it's recursively going back and checking its own work before it gives it back to you and before it hands the task back to you.
Amazing. That's incredible. That's new. I didn't test that part. Last time I used Lovable, they didn't have that feature. That would be nice to try.
Yep. So from blueprint to reality in mere minutes, prompt to vision, and once you have the plan approved, It does browser testing and deployment. It tests the UI flows in a virtual browser before shipping, so it's guaranteed to give it the best possible version. And you can also go in, if you're a visual designer, Rick, you can go into Stitch by Google and create your entire UI using their beautiful UI enhancer in Labs. It's stitch.google.com in the Labs. And then you can export that visual guidance to Lovable. And so the whole system is just working in concert together. So they've also introduced the magic of Lovable Cloud. This is not new-ish. So back when we were doing the original Upskill USA, we are now building on Lovable Cloud, which is really Supabase. It's just rebranded. But what they're giving you access to is Lovable Cloud automatically provisioning your entire backend infrastructure without a single configuration screen. The first time I used Lovable and I wanted to go and put on a database, I had to go to supabase.com and register for an account. And then I had to connect the two and I had to use API keys. Now it's just, you're not just building prototypes anymore, you're building production ready software. So you have instant databases, your app, secure logins from Google, Apple, single sign-on. You can store files there and API keys, and you can include edge functions, row-level security, which I didn't even know what row-level security is. I'm not even sure I still know what row-level security is, but Lovable knows what row-level security is, and it knows that it's supposed to have it. So, you know, we're really putting the faith in the system here. And visual editing, a delight for the designer. Say goodbye to frustrating developer handoff. You can refine your vision directly in your browser with Figma-like control. So you can adjust margins, paddings, color intensity, and colors instantly without touching the code. This is really good for the designers like Rick that don't necessarily want to get into the nuance of the code, but just say make the blue bluer and make it more, make the contrast higher. And you can even set brand tokens and watch them propagate universally. So if you're in a workspace and you're doing a bunch of landing pages and you want it to all pull from the same database, you can. And then using NanoBanana 2 and GPT Image 2, you can generate custom assets with transparent backgrounds and insert them directly into your website.
Excellent.
And this is the latest one that is just the bee's knees, to borrow from the timeline of connecting to the world, the wide world of commerce. So we have chat connectors for the builder's context. So you can plug in Miro and Figma or Granola meeting notes to give your agent deeper context while it builds. And then you have app connectors for the user experience. So they've got a partnership with Stripe where you can plug in Stripe for instant payments, Shopify for storefronts, or Slack for real-time notifications. And just yesterday, we found out that MasterCard has built Agent Pay, which is a protocol for which your securely pay for things on the MasterCard network. So Lovable is one of the first vibe coding platforms in the world to have access to Agent Pay. So if you build a web app that has an agent that is often doing things for you, that agent can leverage the MasterCard network to buy things on your behalf. I would caution with how much of a budget you give it, but you can give it Agent Pay, and that's something that literally just came out yesterday. So every time,
more about that.
yeah, every time we go to update stuff, something changes. The industry is just moving so fast. ChatGPT has been rumored to be making a super app that combines the best elements of ChatGPT and Codex. Elon and his Grok and XAI is all about the super app. Google is finally starting to get their act together of bringing together their different platforms under anti-gravity and the Gemini interface. And we're starting to see this consolidation of power into these major models where they're all starting to become the app for everything. And Lovable is right there alongside them. And then making your creation discoverable. A brilliant application is useless if it's hidden in the dark. So every Lovable app is pre-rendered and readable by both search engines for that generative engine optimization, search engine optimization, and AI crawlers for agentic or generative search engine optimization from day one. So after you build and publish your site, which is very secure, by the way, because you won't let you publish unless you pass its security. And just like the cat's pajamas, it's basically not a nonsense rhyme. I think we're talking about the bee's knees, rhyme that stuck, and a prohibition cocktail and a pop song helped keep this weird little phrase buzzing along. Yes, the bee's knees. But with search engine optimization, I missed this one. Why do we say something as awesome as the bee's knees? In the 1700s, a bee's knee meant something tiny and insignificant. By the Roaring 20s, Americans flipped into the jazzy slang for the best. Well, there you go, Rick. Educating on history even from beyond the show. Educating from bed, hopefully. But
quick question.
Yeah.
The search engine optimization from Lovable does only work if you publish your app in the Lovable servers, or you can deploy to any platform and still have those attributes of search engine optimization?
Yeah, so if you're publishing on Lovable, it's inherent in what you're doing on Lovable. If you're pushing it out to GitHub and then taking it to Vercel, as long as you're running that code enhancement, that SEO audit that they're doing through SEMrush, it is modifying your code. So you're taking that code and taking it off Lovable into somewhere else. It's still going lucid dreaming. It's still going to be carrying that code base with it. Now, you could have your Lovable project connected to GitHub, so it has that version control in it. And so, it does server side, but just speaking of in Lovable, it does in server side rendering for instant crawlability, accesses 28 billion keywords and 43 trillion backlinks natively inside the chat. Oh, Rick. And instant checks for sitemaps, robots.txt, and metadata. Because, everybody is building the websites for humans. Increasingly, we need to be building websites for agents to be able to scroll on them and to search them, because pretty soon I'm just going to be asking Gemini, hey, I need you to go make this or buy this thing for me. And it's going to go out and it's going to find it. And if I can't go to Walmart.com because they're blocking robots because I didn't check the I'm a human, then it's going to go over to Sam's Club or BJ's or Meijer or one of the other options where it is accepted. And you'll start to see that pattern shift.
Also, I know that there's a way, you mentioned the robots file, the robots.txt. There's another file that now you can create that is specifically designed for AI. And I think it's called, I don't know if it's LLM.txt, something like that.
Yeah, LLM.txt.
Yeah, so it's an additional file that you can produce that has all the quick answers and the structure of the company, or your company, or their website. So when the LLM accesses your website, it immediately gets the answer from there. It's like FAQs inside that text. So because it's just text, the LLM can read that quicker than reading your HTML, for example, on your site. So it would prioritize sites that had that enhancement on the deployment.
And I'll tell you what, everybody in the AI space right now is obsessed with markdown files, because Claude and Claude Code and the Lobster bot, our friends over at Lobster bot. Yes, we have our lobsters here. They popularized the markdown file, but a couple of researchers have discovered actually HTML files work just as well, and you could even get deeper because it understands the hypertext markup language just as well as it understands Markdown. And,
yeah, I heard that.
And so we're starting to see more HTML getting in that. And Ironclad security for the modern enterprise. So they made a partnership with Whiz native scanning. So it's built-in software composition analysis and static application security testing. So when you, so I don't know what those words mean because I'm not a security analyst, but I do know that before I hit publish, I can do a thorough security review, and it does an automated deep scan that automatically reviews and fixes security and access patterns. So when you see, before you go to publish on Lovable, you're able to run that security scan and know that it's safe. And it does enforce SAML 2.0 single sign-on and SCIM user provisioning. Again, if you are somebody who cares about data security, these words probably mean something to you.
Yeah, for example, for example, the row level security, right? So we know that the tables, they have rows, like an Excel file, right? So each row has its own security because, for example, when you open a form to the web, right, and you have the different fields that you can enter information, you can do a prompt injection in one of those rows. So this row level security would make sure that you cannot enter information like this code that can be infecting your computer. So at the row level security, it checks that what you enter is valid.
See, Oscar, I knew there was a reason we invited you onto the show today. That was great. Thank you. Now I know what row level security is, and everybody else that's watching this does too. We'll have to clip that for Opus. And then PII redaction, personally identifiable information. That one I know because I work with HIPAA clients. Enterprise grade sensitivity data scanning to keep your workspace pristine. So they're not only examining your project, they're examining your entire workspace for anything that might be leaking data. And then not just applications, a veritable omni-tool. The era of switching between a dozen platforms is over. Lovable is your general purpose digital co-founder. So you can generate a working CRM application. You can ask the chat to analyze your live user data. You can connect it to your drive and have it make presentations for you. You can instruct the agent to instantly generate a downloadable PowerPoint pitch deck showing your new product. So we did this for RecipeKin, which is another website that we built. My colleague and friend Gwen was presenting this at a trade show, and she needed a marketing deck that was going on the TV behind her as people were walking by. And I just asked Lovable, I said, hey, can you make us a marketing deck and have it buried on like /demo? And 5 minutes later, we had this like 10 slide deck, and it wasn't perfect. We tweaked it a little bit, but it was probably something that would have taken us 4 or 5 hours to perfect and synthesize all the data, and it just did it. And so that's the level of think it into existence that we're living in right now. And I think we are looking at a paradigm shift in the build versus buy decision. So legacy software as a service, or SaaS, it took months to deploy because you had to procure it, and then you had to onboard, you had to test it. The cost was often a per seat model. The customization had to fit into their existing infrastructure of software. And if you had something that broke, you had to reach out to the vendor and say, hey, can you open a trouble ticket for this? And now in this new era, we're building on Lovable. Mere minutes from prompt to production, wireframing and scaffolding something of proof of concept has never been easier. Radically affordable. You're paying for the creation. You're not paying on contract. And the software adapts perfectly to your exact business need. Now, I wouldn't say you're going to go out there and vibe code another Salesforce on Lovable, because that's a lot more rich in terms of data, and you have to have some pretty deep understanding of the technical architecture to make that really work as a CRM. But I was just listening to a podcast earlier today where they were talking about vibe coding, and they had a piece of software that was $500 a month, and they wanted it for one feature. And they were paying for this software $500 a month for one feature. So they canceled their contract and they built just that one feature that they were using in, I think it was Claude Code or Codex. They built that one feature, and now they don't have to pay the $500 a month for the software anymore because they built the one feature that they actually needed.
In regards to CRM, right? You mentioned Salesforce. I have experience with Salesforce. I'm certified in Salesforce as well, and I worked for a few years in that industry. And Salesforce really is a platform. It's not just the CRM piece. The CRM is just one piece of the enormous platform. But the CRM piece can be done easily it can be by coded in Lovable or other tools, because
I've coded at the individual level, yes, but scaling to enterprise software where you can have thousands and tens of thousands of customers is
depending on
different. You're not going to host that on Vercel.
Yeah, depending on the magnitude of the backend that you need, right? For huge companies, you need a platform like that, like Salesforce. But maybe for a small business, you don't. Salesforce is overkill, right? And it's so expensive also because Salesforce work with individual licenses or seats. Everybody who logs in Salesforce need to pay for a monthly license. It's very expensive. But in this case, this would be a solution for a small business that need to track the CRM contacts and affordable. Make it affordable.
Yeah, and you have an AI agent in the background to fix, update, and iterate autonomously. Perfect example with RecipeKin, we had a bug that we didn't know that Safari was having issues with the file format of the videos. So the videos weren't playing, it was crashing. And I had Lovable investigate it, figure out what was wrong, and apply a fix. And it said, listen, I can't do anything about the videos that were uploaded because they were encoded wrong, but I can offer to download any of the legacy videos. So instead of it just breaking, it'll offer like, hey, I can't play this in the frame, but I can download it. However, anything moving forward, we've applied this patch, and now the next person to upload a video will benefit from that. So in tech, we have this concept of a backlog of all of the features that you wanted to build and just never had time to, never had the bandwidth, never had the engineering resource. They were never high enough priority. This is a perfect task for Lovable or for Claude Code or for Codex or for Anti-Gravity, because you just go off and spin up the agent and say, go do this thing and let me know when it's back. Create a pull request in GitHub and you're ready to be done with it. And it'll just go off and work autonomously and solve the problem for you. And a rocket ship of unprecedented growth. So Lovable is sitting at $6.6 billion of valuation, secured by a $330 million Series B. They hit $100 million in ARR. Good night and good speed, Brandon and Oscar. They hit $100 million in adjusted annual run rate revenue in July of 2005. By February of 2026, that was up to $400 million. Launching 1 million projects a week, powering an ecosystem of 50 million total projects as of this week. They are now hosting 50 million projects. And I think half of them are probably by people that we know here in the AI Salon, between Rick and Claire and Bob and everybody and me and you and everybody else. We've probably got 25 of the 50 million, but reaching $500 million in revenue with just a lean crew of 146 employees. That's a little outdated. They're up to 200 now. They are hiring, but that is an average of about $2.7 million of revenue per employee. And in June of 2006, they hit $500 million in annual run rate revenue. It's just unbelievable the speed at which they are growing and evolving. Now, Riley Brown, who is on YouTube, he claims to have built his own version of Lovable using Fable 5 and Claude in just 3 prompts. Like, he built his own version of Lovable, but I don't know if it actually worked. But they've got some secret sauce of what they're doing back there. And so join the vibe coding economy today. The point is the power to build software is no longer locked behind years of engineering study. Whether you're a founder, a designer, or an operator, the tools of creation now belong to you. Your imagination is the only limit. And you can start for free. If you go to lovable.dev, you can create a free account. You get 5 prompts a day. And if you're smart, like most of the people on this call, you're prompting in your LLM of choice, like ChatGPT, and you save your 5 prompts for when you actually have some meaty things for the Lovable agent to chew on. So if you do have questions about Lovable, please feel free to find me in the AI Salon. It's community.thesalon.ai. We love talking about Lovable there. And I think that is the end of our presentation today. And so I do want to come over here just briefly back to Oscar. Oscar, what do you think? Are you going to build your next project on Lovable?
Most likely, I want to try these new features because they're very powerful. I love the code review feature that I didn't know about. And I think that's very important because when you deploy to production, and in the future there's a bug or there's an issue, it's more difficult. It's more difficult to fix if you didn't catch it at first. So Lovable is allowing, in this case, to catch the bug before it happens in production, and that's very valuable, and it cost effective also. So I think that would be advisable to try it.
Yeah, very good, very good. So I think that's going to wrap up this edition of AITV Starship. Hopefully, Rick has sauntered off into slumber. God willing, we're going to be back here next week, same time, same place. One way or another, we will find a way. If you want to be part of the Rocketeers or the Imagination, Imagine a World Foundation, just hit Rick up. He's Rick the AI guy at gmail.com, or you could always comment over here on the YouTube. But Oscar, thanks for coming out and hanging out. We're gonna get a reunion together. I think for the 1 year, we're gonna get everybody, all the Rocketeers up.
Absolutely.
And, the date it's coming up. It's hard to believe we've done this for 9 months, coming up on our 1 year anniversary of AITV Starship.
Unbelievable! Congratulations, guys.
Thank you. All right. Until next time, as Rick would say, namaste. And we'll get us our theme music here to play us out. And we'll see you back here next week with Rick, the AI guy, producer Brandon, and who else? Who knows what else? We got Chef Kelly that's going to be coming back. We got Vallone Works and Chris Vallone coming back. Dr. Claire, you're always welcome up here. And who knows? You never know. You just got to stay tuned next week right here live on YouTube. See you later, Oscar. Have a great night. And good night, Rick. Good night. Go to bed. I'm taking your Claude away from you, Rick. Go to bed right now. I mean it. I'm watching.
Ask not what I can do for you, but what you can do with AI. We're the dangerous people who get stuff done. And show you can too. Imagine a beautiful world. With you, we can make it come true. AITV.